I remember the exact moment everything I built started to crumble. It was a Tuesday morning, early October, the kind of cold that bites through your hoodie and settles into your bones. I'd been in the gym since 5:30, running through the same drills I'd perfected over the past year. Catch and shoot, pick and roll, defensive rotations, every movement sharp, every decision automatic. I knew Coach Miller's system better than I knew my own apartment. I lived it, breathed it, dreamed it. When I walked into the facility that morning, I expected another day of work, another step closer to proving I belonged in the rotation. Instead, I found the entire team gathered in the film room, faces blank, eyes avoiding mine. The lights were dim, the projector hummed, and Coach Miller stood at the front with his arms crossed, jaw tight, looking like a man about to burn down everything he'd spent a decade building. "Sit down," he said. I did. Front row, same seat I always took. The seat of someone who wanted to be seen, who wanted to learn, who believed that effort and attention would be rewarded. Coach clicked the remote. The screen lit up with game footage, not highlights, mistakes, turnovers, missed rotations, blown assignments, our last 3 losses, dissected frame by frame. And then he said it. "This system doesn't work anymore." The room went silent. Not the kind of silence that comes from focus, the kind that comes from fear, from confusion, from the sudden realization that the ground beneath you isn't as solid as you thought. "We're starting over," Coach continued. His voice was flat. No emotion, no apology. New offense, new defense, new rotations, new roles. Everything we've done up to this point is gone. If you can't adapt, you won't play. Simple as that. I felt my chest tighten. My hands went cold. I wanted to say something, ask something, but the words stuck in my throat. Because what do you say when the man who recruited you, who promised you a future, who made you believe in a plan, suddenly tells you that plan was a waste? He didn't look at me once during the entire meeting. When it ended, guys shuffled out in silence. No one talked. No one made eye contact. I stayed in my seat, staring at the blank screen, trying to process what had just happened. A year, an entire year of film study, of extra reps, of staying late to master every read, every cut, every screen. Gone. Erased. Like it never mattered. I heard footsteps behind me. I turned. It was Coach Miller. He stopped a few feet away, hands in his pockets, looking at me like I was a problem he hadn't figured out how to solve yet. "You got something to say?" he asked. I swallowed hard. I worked really hard to learn this system, Coach. I thought I was doing what you asked." "You were," he said. "But things change. The league changes. We have to change with it. So what does that mean for me?" He shrugged. "Means you start over. Just like everyone else." "Start over," I repeated. The words tasted bitter. "From scratch. From scratch." I nodded slowly. My throat felt tight. "And if I can't?" He didn't answer right away, just looked at me with that same cold, distant expression. Then he said, "Then you'll find out real quick that this league doesn't care how hard you worked yesterday." He walked out, left me sitting there, alone, in the dark. I sat there for a long time, maybe 10 minutes, maybe an hour. Time felt strange, stretched, like I was underwater, like I was watching my life happen to someone else. Eventually I stood up, grabbed my bag, walked out into the hallway. The facility was empty now. The hum of the fluorescent lights overhead was the only sound. I passed the weight room, the training room, the locker room. Everything familiar, everything suddenly foreign. I pushed through the exit doors and stepped into the cold. The parking lot was nearly empty. Just a few cars scattered across the asphalt. Mine was parked in the back corner, a beat-up sedan I'd driven since college. I climbed in, tossed my bag in the passenger seat, and just sat there, hands on the wheel, engine off, staring at nothing. My phone buzzed. I glanced down. A text from my mom. "How's practice, baby? You eating enough?" I stared at the message. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. I wanted to tell her, wanted to say that everything I'd been working toward just got thrown out, that I felt lost, that I didn't know what to do, but I couldn't, because she believed in me, because she sacrificed so much to get me here, because hearing that her son might not make it would break her heart. So I typed back, "Practice was good. I'm eating. Love you." I put the phone down, started the engine, pulled out of the lot. The drive home was a blur. I don't remember the turns, don't remember the traffic lights. I just drove, on autopilot, thinking about everything and nothing at the same time. When I got back to my apartment, I dropped my bag by the door and collapsed onto the couch. The place was quiet. Too quiet. I lived alone. No roommates, no distractions. Just me and the weight of my own thoughts. I pulled out my phone again, scrolled through old messages, found a thread with my agent, Marcus. We'd talked a few days ago about my development, about how close I was to cracking the rotation, about how the coaching staff was impressed with my progress. I typed, "We need to talk." His response came fast. "What's up?" I hesitated, then wrote, "Coach just scrapped the entire system. Says we're starting over. Everything I learned this year doesn't matter anymore." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, "That's tough, man. But you're young. You'll adapt." I stared at the message. That's it? That's all he had to say? I didn't respond. Just locked my phone and tossed it onto the coffee table. The rest of the day passed in a haze. I didn't eat, didn't work out, didn't watch film. I just sat there, on the couch, in the dark, replaying Coach's words over and over in my mind. Start over, from scratch. By the time night fell, I'd made a decision. Or maybe the decision made itself. Either way, I knew what I had to do. I had to go back, had to prove that I could adapt, that I wasn't just a product of one system, that I was more than what Coach Miller thought I was. The next morning, I was back in the gym at 5:30. Same time, same routine. Except this time, I wasn't running Coach's old drills. I was learning the new ones, watching film, taking notes, studying every detail of the new offense, every spacing rule, every read, every counter. I stayed until midnight, came back the next day, and the next, and the next. But something was different now. The other guys on the team looked at me differently, like I was trying too hard, like I didn't get the message. Even the assistant coaches kept their distance. Polite, professional, but cold. And Coach Miller? He barely acknowledged me. During practice, he'd call out corrections to everyone else, but when I made a mistake, he'd just shake his head and move on, like I wasn't worth the breath it would take to coach me. 2 weeks passed like that. 2 weeks of grinding, of proving myself, of waiting for something to change. It didn't. Then, on a Friday afternoon, everything shifted. I was in the weight room, finishing a lift, when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Hello? Is this him?" The voice was deep, confident, familiar, but I couldn't place it. "Who's this?" "Coach Stevens, Detroit." My heart stopped. Coach Stevens, the head coach of our biggest rival. The guy who'd been torching the league with a fast-paced, player-friendly system. The guy who turned undrafted guys into all-stars. "I've been watching you," he said. "I know what's going on over there, and I know you're better than what they're giving you credit for." I didn't say anything. Couldn't. My mind was racing. "We have a spot," he continued. "If you want it, no promises, but you'll get a fair shot. A real shot, the way basketball should be played." I gripped the phone tighter. "Why me?" "Because I know talent when I see it. And I know when a guy's being wasted." Silence. Long. Heavy. "Think about it," he said. "But don't think too long. Opportunities like this don't wait." The line went dead. I stood there, phone in my hand, heart pounding, mind spinning. A way out, a real way out. But it wasn't that simple. It never is. Because leaving meant betraying the team that drafted me. Meant proving Coach Miller right. Meant disappointing my mom, who always taught me to finish what I started. Meant being labeled a quitter, a traitor, a guy who couldn't handle adversity. But staying meant more of this. More silence. More erasure. More nights wondering if I'd ever be good enough. I put the phone in my pocket, walked out of the weight room, out of the facility, into the cold, and for the first time in my life, I didn't know which direction to go. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying Coach Stevens' voice in my head, over and over. "I know talent when I see it, and I know when a guy's being wasted." The words felt like a lifeline, like someone finally saw me, really saw me. Not as a project, not as a system player, but as someone who could actually play this game. But every time I started to feel hope, another voice cut through. My mom's voice, from years ago. Sitting at our kitchen table after I'd quit the travel team because the coach was hard on me. I was 15, thought I knew everything, thought I deserved better. She'd looked at me with those tired eyes, the ones that had seen too many double shifts, too many bills, too many sacrifices. And she said, "Baby, the world's gonna knock you down 1,000 times, but you don't get to quit every time it gets hard. You finish what you start. You honor your commitments. That's what separates men from boys. I'd never forgotten that. Never forgot the weight in her voice. The disappointment that she tried to hide but couldn't quite manage. And now, here I was, about to do exactly what she'd taught me never to do. I turned over, checked my phone. 3:17 in the morning. No new messages. Just the same old group chat with the guys from college. They were talking about some game, some drama, normal stuff, stuff that used to matter. I scrolled up. Found an old conversation with my mom from a few months ago, right after I signed. She'd sent a photo of herself in my jersey, smiling bigger than I'd seen her smile in years. The caption said, "So proud of my baby. All that hard work paying off." I locked the phone, put it face down on the nightstand. I couldn't do this to her. By 6 in the morning, I was back in the gym, alone, running through the new system, forcing myself to focus, to commit, to prove that I could do this, that I didn't need an escape plan, that I was strong enough to push through, but my body felt heavy. Every cut, every shot, everything felt off, like I was moving through mud, like I was trying to be someone I wasn't. I heard the door open behind me. Footsteps. I turned. It was Darius, our starting point guard, 6'5", calm, collected, the kind of guy who never seemed rattled by anything. He walked over slowly, hands in his pockets, watched me miss another three. "You good?" he asked. "Yeah," I said. Grabbed the ball, shot again, missed again. "You don't look good." I didn't respond, just kept shooting, kept missing. He walked onto the court, caught the ball after my next miss, held it, looked at me. "You heard, didn't you?" I froze. "Heard what?" "Detroit. Coach Stevens called you." My stomach dropped. "How do you know that?" He shrugged. "Word travels, especially when it's about a rival team poaching one of our guys." I felt my jaw tighten. I didn't say yes, but you didn't say no. Silence, long, uncomfortable. He bounced the ball a few times, then said, "Look, man, I'm not going to tell you what to do. That's your call. But I'll tell you this. If you leave, it's going to follow you. People are going to say you couldn't handle it, that you were soft, that you ran when things got hard. And if I stay," I shot back, "what then? Coach doesn't even look at me anymore. I work harder than anyone on this team and it doesn't matter. So what's the point?" Darius tilted his head. "The point is you gave your word. You signed a contract. You committed to this team, to this city, to us. And yeah, it's hard right now. But that's basketball. That's life. You don't bail the second things don't go your way." I laughed, bitter, cold. "Easy for you to say. You're starting. You're getting minutes. Coach actually talks to you. You think I didn't go through this?" His voice was sharper now. "You think I didn't have seasons where I felt invisible? Where I questioned everything? But I stayed. I pushed through. And now I'm here. Because I didn't run. Good for you," I said, grabbed the ball from his hands. "But I'm not you." He stared at me for a long moment, then shook his head. "No, you're not." He turned and walked toward the exit, stopped at the door, looked back. "Just remember, once you leave, you can't come back. Not really. You'll always be the guy who quit." The door closed behind him. I stood there, alone again, ball in my hands, heart pounding. He was right. I knew he was right. But that didn't make it easier. I left the gym an hour later, grabbed breakfast at a diner down the street, sat in a corner booth, ordered coffee and eggs I didn't touch, just stared out the window, watching people walk by. Normal people, with normal problems. People who didn't have to choose between loyalty and survival. My phone buzzed. A text from Marcus, my agent. "We need to meet. Today. It's important." I typed back. "When?" "Noon. My office." I checked the time. 10:30. I finished my coffee, left cash on the table, drove across town to Marcus's office, a sleek high-rise in the business district, all glass and steel. The kind of place that reminded you that basketball was a business first, a dream second. I took the elevator to the 14th floor, walked into his office. He was on the phone, waved me in, pointed to the chair across from his desk. I sat. He finished his call, hung up, leaned back in his chair, studied me. "You look like hell," he said. "Thanks. You talked to Detroit yet?" I shook my head. "Not since the first call." "You should." I frowned. "I thought you'd tell me to stay." He laughed. Short, sharp. "Why would I tell you that? You're buried here. Coach doesn't play you, doesn't develop you. You're wasting your prime years sitting on a bench, learning a system that might not even work. Meanwhile, Detroit's offering you a real opportunity, a chance to actually play, to prove yourself, to make money. It's not about money. Everything's about money, he said, leaned forward. Look, I get it. You want to be loyal. You want to honor your commitments. That's noble. But this is a business. And in this business, loyalty goes one way. The team will cut you the second you're not useful. They'll trade you, waive you, replace you, and they won't think twice. So why should you? I didn't answer, because I didn't have an answer. He softened a little. I'm not saying it's an easy decision, but you have to think about your future, about your career, about your family. What happens if you stay here and never get a real shot? What happens if you waste 3, 4, 5 years and then get cut? You think Coach Miller's going to care? You think this team's going to take care of you? My mom would want me to stay, I said quietly. Marcus sighed. Your mom loves you. She wants what's best for you, but she doesn't understand this world. She doesn't know what it's like to have one shot, one window, and if you miss it, it's gone forever. He pulled out a folder, slid it across the desk. Detroit's offer. Look it over. Think about it. But don't take too long, because if you say no, someone else will say yes. I picked up the folder, didn't open it, just held it. One more thing, Marcus said. If you do this, you need to be ready for the backlash. The media's going to destroy you. Fans are going to call you a traitor. Your teammates are going to turn on you. It's going to be ugly. So if you're not ready for that, then stay. But if you're ready to bet on yourself, to fight for your career, then make the call. I stood up, folder in hand. I'll think about it. Don't think too long. I left his office, took the elevator down, walked out into the afternoon sun. The city was loud, busy, indifferent. I stood on the sidewalk, watching cars pass, watching people rush by, all of them with somewhere to be, something to do, a purpose. I didn't know where I belonged anymore. I got in my car, drove, no destination, just drove, through neighborhoods I didn't know, past parks and schools and corner stores. I ended up on the east side, near the house I grew up in. I parked across the street, stared at it. The paint was chipping. The porch sagged a little, but it was still standing, still home. I thought about calling my mom, thought about going inside, sitting at that same kitchen table, asking her what to do, but I couldn't, because I already knew what she'd say, and I wasn't sure I could handle hearing it. My phone rang. Unknown number again. My heart jumped. I answered. It's Stevens. You had time to think? I swallowed hard. Yeah. And? Silence. Long. Heavy. The weight of everything pressing down on me. I need more time, I said. He paused. Then, you've got 24 hours. After that, I'm moving on. The line went dead. I sat there, in front of my childhood home, holding my phone, feeling like a kid again, lost, scared, unsure. I thought about Darius, about Marcus, about Coach Miller, about my mom, about everyone who had an opinion, everyone who thought they knew what was best for me, but none of them had to live with the decision. None of them had to wake up every day and live with the choice. That was on me, only me. I started the car, pulled away from the curb, drove back to my apartment. That night I sat on my couch, folder on the coffee table, phone beside it, TV on but muted, just background noise to fill the silence. I picked up the folder, opened it, read through the offer, the terms, the salary, the role, the promise. It was everything I wanted, everything I'd worked for, a real chance, a real future, but it came with a price, and I wasn't sure I was ready to pay it. I closed the folder, put it down, picked up my phone, stared at my mom's contact. My thumb hovered over the call button. Then I put the phone down. I couldn't ask her, couldn't put that on her. This was my choice, my life, my career. I leaned back, closed my eyes, and for the first time in weeks I let myself feel everything. The anger, the hurt, the betrayal, the fear, all of it. And somewhere in that mess of emotions I found something else, something small, something fragile, but something real, clarity. I opened my eyes, picked up my phone, dialed. It rang twice. Then, hello? Coach Stevens, I said, my voice steady, calm. Sure, I need to ask you something. Go ahead. If I come to Detroit, will you give me a real shot? Not a promise, not a guarantee, just a fair chance to prove myself. That's all I'm offering, he said. Fair, honest, real. I took a deep breath. Then I'm in. Silence. Then, good. I'll send the paperwork tomorrow. Welcome to Detroit. I hung up, set the phone down, sat there in the quiet. I'd made my choice, for better or worse. I'd chosen myself, and now I had to live with it. The news broke on a Wednesday morning. I was still in bed when my phone started exploding. Text after text, call after call, notifications flooding in so fast the screen could barely keep up. I grabbed it, unlocked it, saw the headline: Rising Star requests trade to division rival. Locker room in chaos. My stomach dropped. I hadn't even told the team yet. Hadn't spoken to Coach Miller. Hadn't prepared a statement. But somehow, someway, the media already knew. They always knew. I scrolled through the messages. Most of them from reporters I'd never spoken to, asking for comments, asking for interviews, asking me to explain myself, like I owed them an explanation, like my life was public property. Then I saw one from Darius. Bro, really? That one hurt more than all the others combined. I didn't respond. Couldn't. What was I supposed to say? That I was sorry? That I had no choice? That this was about survival, not betrayal? None of it would matter. The damage was done. I got out of bed, showered, got dressed. My hands were shaking the whole time. I tried to eat breakfast. Couldn't. Just poured coffee I didn't drink and stared at my phone, watching the story spread across social media like wildfire. The comments were brutal. Soft, quitter, can't handle adversity, traitor. He's done. No team will ever trust him again. I put the phone face down on the counter, took a breath, tried to center myself, but the walls felt like they were closing in. The apartment felt smaller. The air felt thinner. I needed to get out. I grabbed my keys, headed for the door. But before I could leave, someone knocked. 3 hard raps. Urgent. I froze. Thought about not answering. But the knock came again. Louder this time. I opened the door. It was Marcus, my agent. He looked stressed. Tie loose, jacket off, hair a little wild. He pushed past me into the apartment without waiting for an invitation. You see it? He asked. Yeah. Good. Because we need to talk. Now. He paced the living room, back and forth, hands on his hips. I closed the door, stood there, waiting. This is a mess, he said. A complete mess. Someone leaked it. Could have been the team, could have been Detroit, could have been anyone. But now it's out there and we need to control the narrative before it controls us. How do we do that? He stopped pacing, looked at me. You need to make a statement. Something clean, professional, grateful for your time here, excited for the next chapter. No drama, no blame, just class. And if I don't feel grateful, doesn't matter how you feel, he snapped. It matters how you're perceived. Right now, you're being painted as a selfish kid who quit on his team. We need to flip that, make you the victim. The guy who was misused, the guy who had no choice. I don't want to be a victim. Then you want to be a villain? I didn't answer, because I didn't know. All I knew was that nothing felt right anymore. Every option felt wrong. Marcus sighed, rubbed his face. Look, I know this is hard, but this is part of the game. The media, the fans, the narratives. You can't control what they say, but you can control how you respond. So we respond smart, we respond calm, and we move forward. He pulled out his phone, started typing. I'm drafting a statement now. I'll send it to you. You post it. Don't change anything. Don't add anything. Just post it and stay quiet. What about the team? What about them? Don't I owe them a conversation, an explanation? He looked at me like I was crazy. You don't owe them anything. They were going to cut you eventually. You just beat them to it. That's business. It doesn't feel like business. That's because you're still thinking like a player. Start thinking like a professional. He finished typing. Sent the statement to my phone. Posted in an hour. Give me time to make some calls. And stay off social media. Don't read the comments. Don't respond to anyone. Just stay quiet and let this blow over. He headed for the door. Stopped. Turned back. One more thing. Detroit's sending a car for you tomorrow morning. 6 a.m. They want you there for a physical and a press conference by noon. So pack tonight and get some sleep. You're gonna need it. He left. The door clicked shut behind him, and I was alone again. I read the statement he'd written. It was fine, professional, safe, everything it needed to be, but it didn't sound like me, didn't feel like me. It felt like something written by a lawyer, cold, calculated, empty. But maybe that's what I needed to be right now. Empty, detached, professional. I posted it. Then I turned off my phone, tossed it on the couch, and sat there in the silence. An hour later, I couldn't take it anymore. I turned the phone back on. The notifications had tripled. Reporters, fans, former teammates. Everyone had something to say. But one message stood out. From my mom. "Baby, call me, please." My chest tightened. I stared at the message. My thumb hovered over her name. But I couldn't do it. Couldn't hear the disappointment in her voice. Couldn't explain why I was doing the one thing she'd taught me never to do. So I didn't call. I just typed, "I'm okay. I'll explain everything soon. I love you." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, "I love you too, no matter what." I put the phone down, felt the tears come. Hot, fast, unstoppable. I hadn't cried in years, not since my dad left, not since I learned that emotions were a weakness, that men don't break, that you swallow the pain and keep moving. But right now, I couldn't keep moving, couldn't swallow it, couldn't pretend it didn't hurt. So I let it out, all of it. The anger, the fear, the guilt, the loneliness, everything I'd been holding in for weeks, for months, for years. I cried until there was nothing left, until I was empty, hollow, numb. Then I wiped my face, stood up, and started packing. The next morning, the car arrived at 6. Black SUV, tinted windows, driver in a suit who didn't say a word. I threw my bags in the back, climbed in, and we pulled away. I watched my apartment building disappear in the rearview mirror, watched the city I'd called home for the past year fade into the distance, and I felt nothing, just numb, just empty. The drive to Detroit took 4 hours. I slept most of the way, or tried to. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Coach Miller's face, Darius's text, my mom's message, the comments online, all of it swirling together into a mess of guilt and regret. When we arrived, the facility was massive, state-of-the-art, gleaming glass and chrome, the kind of place that screamed money and success. A far cry from the old-school gym I'd just left behind. Coach Stevens was waiting for me in the lobby. Tall, broad, confident. He shook my hand. Firm grip, steady eye contact. "Welcome," he said. "Ready to get to work?" I nodded. "Yeah, good, because we don't have time to waste. Physicals in 20 minutes. Press conference at noon. Practice at 2. You'll meet the team tonight." He led me through the facility, showed me the weight room, the film room, the courts. Everything was perfect. Everything was professional. Everything was exactly what I'd wanted. But it didn't feel real. Felt like I was floating. Like I was watching someone else's life. The physical was quick. Standard tests, blood work, range of motion, all clear. Then it was time for the press conference. They led me into a room packed with reporters, cameras, microphones, lights. Coach Stevens sat beside me at a table, a team official on the other side, and I sat in the middle, exposed, vulnerable. The questions started immediately. Why did you leave? Do you feel like you quit on your old team? What do you say to the fans who feel betrayed? Are you worried about how this will affect your reputation? I answered them all, carefully, professionally, using the talking points Marcus had drilled into me the night before. Grateful for the opportunity, excited for the future. No hard feelings, just business. But inside, I was screaming. Inside, I wanted to tell them the truth, that I felt erased, that I felt invisible, that I was tired of being loyal to people who didn't care about me, that I chose myself because no one else would. But I didn't say any of that. I just smiled, nodded, and played the part. When it was over, Coach Stevens walked me to the locker room. The team was already there, getting ready for practice. They stopped when I walked in, stared, sized me up. Coach cleared his throat. "Guys, this is our newest addition. I expect you to treat him like family, because that's what we are here. A family." Silence. Then one of the guys stepped forward. The captain, a veteran forward with gray in his beard and scars on his knuckles. He extended his hand. "Welcome," he said. "We'll see what you're made of." I shook his hand, looking forward to it. The others followed, one by one, some warm, some cold, some indifferent, but they all shook my hand. All welcomed me, at least on the surface. Practice was intense, fast-paced, physical, everything I'd wanted, everything I'd missed. Coach Stevens pushed me hard, harder than Coach Miller ever did, but it felt different. It felt like he was challenging me, not punishing me. By the end, I was exhausted, drenched in sweat, lungs burning, but I felt alive. For the first time in months, I felt like a basketball player again. After practice, I showered, changed, headed back to the hotel the team had set me up in. A nice place, clean, comfortable, but empty. I ordered room service. Didn't need it. Just sat by the window, looking out at the city. A new team, a new life. My phone buzzed. A text from Darius. "Good luck, man. I hope it's worth it." I stared at the message. Wanted to respond. Wanted to explain. Wanted to make him understand. But I didn't, because nothing I said would change how he felt, how any of them felt. So I just turned off my phone, put it on the nightstand, and lay down in the dark. Tomorrow, I'd have to prove myself all over again. Have to earn the respect of a new team, a new coach, a new city. But tonight I just had to survive the weight of my own choices and hope that I'd made the right one. The first week in Detroit was a blur. Every morning started the same. 5:30 wake-up call, coffee I barely tasted, film session by 7, practice by 9, lunch, lift, more film, more practice, dinner alone in my hotel room, sleep, repeat. Coach Stevens didn't let up, didn't give me time to breathe, didn't give me time to think, and maybe that was the point. Maybe he knew that if I stopped moving, stopped grinding, I'd start questioning everything, start drowning in the guilt. But the work felt good, felt right. For the first time in months, I wasn't just going through the motions. I was competing, learning, growing. The system here was different, faster, more creative, more freedom. Coach trusted his players to make reads, to take risks, to play. And slowly, I started to feel like myself again. The team was a different story. On the court, they passed me the ball, ran plays with me, communicated. But off the court, it was different, quieter, colder. They were professional, respectful, but distant, like I was a guest in their home. Welcome, but not family. I didn't blame them. I was the guy who abandoned his team, the guy who chose himself over loyalty, the guy who proved that in this league, no one was safe. If I could leave, so could they. And that made me dangerous. But one guy was different. His name was Jamal, a second-year guard out of a small school no one had heard of. Undersized, overlooked, undrafted. The kind of guy who had to fight for everything, who had to prove himself every single day. He found me after practice one afternoon. I was in the weight room, running through a cool-down routine. He walked over, towel around his neck, water bottle in hand. "You good?" he asked. I looked up. "Yeah, why?" He shrugged. "Just checking. I know it's tough being the new guy, especially with all the noise around how you got here." I set down the weights. "You here to tell me I'm a traitor too?" He laughed. "Nah, man. I'm here to tell you I get it." "You get it?" "Yeah." He sat down on the bench next to me. "I got cut 3 times before I landed here. Bounced around, went overseas, came back, got waived again, and every time people had something to say, that I wasn't good enough, that I should quit, that I was wasting everyone's time. But I didn't quit. I kept fighting, because I knew what I was worth, even when no one else did." He looked at me. "So yeah, I get it. You did what you had to do, and anyone who's been through the struggle knows that." I nodded slowly. "Thanks. Don't thank me. Just prove them wrong. That's all you can do." He stood up, tapped my shoulder, and walked out. I sat there for a while, thinking about what he said, about proving them wrong, about showing everyone that I wasn't a quitter, that I was a fighter. That night I called my mom. It was the first time we'd spoken since I left. I'd been avoiding it, scared of what she'd say, scared of hearing the disappointment in her voice, but I couldn't hide anymore, couldn't keep running. She answered on the second ring. "Baby?" "Hey, Ma." Silence, long, heavy. Then, "You okay?" "Yeah, I'm okay." "You sure? Because you don't sound okay." I took a breath. "I'm sorry, Ma. I know you're disappointed. I know you taught me better, but I had to do it. I had to choose myself. And I know that sounds selfish, but—" "Stop," she said. Her voice was soft, gentle. "Stop apologizing." I frowned. "But I thought—" "You thought I'd be mad," she said. "You thought I'd tell you that you quit, that you gave up, that you let me down." "Yeah." She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Baby, I'm not disappointed. I'm proud of you." My throat tightened. "What?" "I'm proud," she repeated, "because you stood up for yourself. You didn't let them break you. You didn't let them make you small. You chose yourself, and that takes courage. But you always said—" "I know what I said," she interrupted. "I said finish what you start. Honor your commitments. And I still believe that. But I also believe in knowing when something's not good for you. And from what you've told me, that place wasn't good for you. So you left. And that's not quitting. That's surviving. I felt the tears come. Hot. Fast. I miss you, Ma. I miss you too, baby. So much. But I need you to know something. You don't owe anyone your pain. You don't owe anyone your suffering. You owe yourself a chance. A real chance. And that's what you took. So don't apologize for that. Not to me. Not to anyone. We talked for another hour. About everything. About nothing. About life and basketball and family. And by the time we hung up, I felt lighter. Like a weight had been lifted. Like I could finally breathe again. The next day, we had our first game. Home opener. The arena was packed. 15,000 people. Lights. Music. Energy. The kind of atmosphere that reminded you why you fell in love with this game in the first place. I was coming off the bench. Coach Stevens made that clear from the start. I had to earn my spot, had to prove I deserved minutes, and I respected that, appreciated it even, because it was honest, real. The game started fast, physical, aggressive. Our opponent was scrappy, well coached, disciplined. They punched us in the mouth early, took a 10-point lead in the first quarter. The crowd got restless, nervous. Coach called a timeout, looked down the bench, made eye contact with me. You ready? I nodded. Yeah. Good. Get in there. Play your game. Don't think. Just play. I checked in. The crowd gave a polite applause. Nothing crazy. Just acknowledgement. I was still the new guy. Still unproven. The first possession, I got the ball on the wing. My defender closed out hard. I shot faked. He bit. I drove. Drew help. Kicked it out. Corner 3. Splash. The arena erupted. Next possession, I set a screen. Rolled hard. Got the ball on the move. Finished through contact. And won. The crowd got louder. By the end of the quarter, I had 8 points. 2 assists. A steal. We'd cut the lead to 2. And for the first time since I arrived, I felt the crowd behind me. Felt the team trust me. Felt like I belonged. We won the game by 6. I finished with 14 points. 4 assists. 3 steals. Not spectacular, but solid, consistent. Exactly what the team needed. After the game, Coach Stevens pulled me aside in the locker room. Good job tonight, he said. That's what I wanted to see. Aggressive, confident, unselfish. Keep that up, and you'll be in the rotation permanently. Thanks, Coach. He nodded. But don't get comfortable. Every night's a new test. Every night you have to prove it again. That's the deal. I understand. Good. Now go celebrate with your teammates. You earned it. The team went out that night, a bar downtown. Nothing fancy, just drinks and music and guys talking trash. I almost didn't go. Felt like I'd be intruding. But Jamal insisted. Come on, man. You played well. You're part of the team now, act like it. So I went. At first it was awkward. Guys were polite, friendly, but surface level. No one really talked to me. No one asked me questions. I was just there. But then the captain, the veteran forward, raised his glass. To the new guy, he said, for showing up when we needed him. Everyone raised their glasses, echoed the toast, and for the first time, I felt like maybe I wasn't just a guest anymore. Maybe I was becoming part of something. Later that night, I was standing outside the bar, getting some air, when one of the younger guys came out. A rookie, 19 years old, baby face, wide eyes. Hey, he said, can I ask you something? Sure. Was it hard, leaving your old team? I looked at him, saw the genuine curiosity in his eyes. No judgment, no agenda, just a kid trying to understand the game. Yeah, I said. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. You regret it? I thought about it, really thought about it. Then I said, not yet, but ask me again in a year. He nodded. Fair enough. We stood there in silence for a while, watching cars pass, listening to the muffled music from inside the bar. Then he said, I hope it works out for you, man. I really do. Thanks. He went back inside, and I stayed out there for a few more minutes, just breathing, just thinking, just being. The next few weeks were a grind. We played 8 games in 12 days, won 6, lost 2. I was averaging about 20 minutes a game, contributing, making an impact, slowly earning the trust of my teammates, of the coaching staff, of the fans. But then we had a game, against my old team. The schedule had it marked in red. A Tuesday night, national TV, Prime time. The storyline wrote itself. The return, the betrayal, the revenge. I tried not to think about it, tried to treat it like any other game. But I couldn't, because it wasn't any other game. It was personal. The days leading up to it were tense. Media everywhere. Reporters asking the same questions over and over. How do you feel about facing your old team? Do you have something to prove? Are you expecting a hostile reception? I gave them the same answers. Professional, calm, respectful. But inside, I was a mess. The night before the game, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about everything. About Coach Miller, about Darius, about the year I spent grinding for a team that didn't value me. And I realized something. I wasn't angry anymore. I was grateful. Because that pain, that rejection, that erasure, it pushed me to be here, to fight, to become who I was supposed to be. The next night, I walked into that arena, my old arena, and it was everything I expected. Boos, signs, chants. The fans were ruthless, brutal, personal, but I didn't care, because I wasn't here for them. I wasn't here for Coach Miller. I wasn't here for anyone but myself. And when the ball tipped, I played the best game of my life. 28 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 steals, no turnovers. We won by 15. And when the final buzzer sounded, I didn't celebrate, didn't talk trash, didn't even look at the bench. I just walked off the court, head high, heart steady, because I'd proven everything I needed to prove, not to them, but to myself. 2 months after the game against my old team, I found myself sitting in an empty gym at midnight. The season was halfway done. We were third in the conference. I was averaging 18 points, 5 assists, earning real minutes, real respect. Everything I wanted when I made the decision to leave was happening. I was proving everyone wrong, proving myself right, but I didn't feel satisfied, didn't feel complete. Something was missing, something I couldn't name. I sat there on the baseline, back against the wall, ball in my hands, staring at the empty court. The lights were dim. The building was silent, just me and the echo of my own breathing. I thought about the journey, about where I started, about the kid who got drafted with so much hope, so much belief, about the year of grinding that got erased in a single meeting, about the phone call that changed everything, about the choice that defined me. And I realized something. I'd been running from the pain, from the rejection, from the feeling of being invisible. I'd been so focused on proving everyone wrong that I forgot to ask myself the most important question. Who was I playing for? Was I playing for my mom? For the fans? For the people who doubted me? For the people who believed in me? Or was I playing for myself? The truth was, I didn't know anymore. Somewhere along the way, I'd lost sight of why I started playing this game in the first place. Not for the stats, not for the contract, not for the validation, for the love of it, for the pure, simple joy of competing, of being part of something bigger than myself, of chasing greatness with people who shared the same hunger. I heard footsteps behind me, turned. It was Coach Stevens. He walked over slowly, hands in his pockets, and sat down next to me on the floor. "Can't sleep?" he asked. Something like that. He nodded, stared out at the court. "You played a hell of a game tonight." We'd beaten the top team in the West earlier that evening. I'd scored 23, hit the game winner with 6 seconds left. The arena had exploded. My teammates had mobbed me. It was everything a player dreams of, but I felt empty. "Thanks," I said quietly. "So why are you here?" he asked. "Why aren't you out celebrating? Why aren't you sleeping? Why are you sitting in an empty gym at midnight looking like you lost?" I didn't answer right away, just bounced the ball a few times. Then I said, "I don't know if I'm doing this for the right reasons anymore." He raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" "I mean, when I came here I was angry, hurt. I wanted to prove everyone wrong, prove that I was better than they thought, that I deserved respect, that I wasn't a quitter, and I did that. I proved it. But now I'm here, and I don't know what I'm chasing anymore." Coach Stevens was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "Can I tell you a story?" "Yeah. When I was playing, I was a lot like you. Talented, hungry, always fighting to prove something. I got drafted in the second round, chip on my shoulder the size of Texas, and I spent my entire career trying to prove I should have been a first-rounder. Every game, every practice, every possession, I was fighting ghosts, fighting perceptions, fighting everyone who doubted me." He paused, picked up the ball, spun it in his hands. "And you know what happened? I had a good career, made some money, won some games, but I was miserable because I was never playing for myself. I was playing to prove other people wrong. And no matter how much I accomplished, it was never enough because the goalpost kept moving. The ghosts kept talking. He looked at me. You remind me of myself, and that scares me because I don't want you to waste your career fighting battles that don't matter, fighting people who don't care. You're talented enough to play this game for a long time, but talent isn't enough. You have to love it, really love it, not the attention, not the validation, the game itself. I felt a lump in my throat. I used to love it when I was a kid, before all the pressure, before all the noise. I'd play until the streetlights came on. Didn't care about scouts, didn't care about rankings, just played because it felt good. So what changed? The stakes got higher, the game got bigger, and somewhere along the way it stopped being fun, stopped being mine. It became everyone else's. He nodded. That's the trap. That's what this league does. It takes the thing you love and turns it into a job, into a performance, into something you have to prove. And if you let it, it'll consume you. You'll wake up one day, 35 years old, body broken, career over, and realize you spent your whole life playing for everyone else. He stood up, handed me the ball. You made the right choice coming here, but now you have to make another choice. You have to decide who you're playing for. And if the answer isn't you, then none of this matters. He walked toward the exit, stopped, looked back. Take your time, figure it out, but don't take too long, because this game won't wait for you. The door closed behind him, and I was alone again. I stood up, walked to the free throw line, took a shot. It rattled in. I grabbed the rebound, shot again, swish, again, swish, again, swish. I kept shooting, over and over, not counting, not thinking, just feeling, just playing. And somewhere in that rhythm, in that repetition, I found something, a memory, a feeling. The kid who used to play until dark, who didn't care about anything except the ball and the basket and the moment. That kid was still in me, buried beneath the pressure and the noise and the expectations, but still there, still alive. I just had to let him out. The next morning, I woke up with clarity, real clarity, not the kind that comes from anger or revenge, but the kind that comes from understanding, from acceptance. I wasn't playing to prove Coach Miller wrong. I wasn't playing to validate my decision. I wasn't playing for my old team or my new team or the media or the fans. I was playing because I loved the game, and that was enough. That night, we had another game. Road trip, West Coast, the kind of grind that tests you. Long flight, back to back, tired legs, but I felt different, lighter, freer. During warm-ups, Jamal came over. You good, man? You seem different. Yeah, I said. I'm good. Better than I've been in a long time. He smiled. Good. Because we need you locked in tonight. The game was tough, physical, close. We were down 5 with 2 minutes left. Coach called a timeout, drew up a play. We need a stop and a score, he said. Defense first, then we push. We got the stop. I grabbed the rebound, pushed it up the court, drew 2 defenders, kicked it to Jamal. He drove, kicked it back to me in the corner. I shot without hesitation. Swish, down 2. Next possession, we trapped their point guard. He picked up his dribble, panicked, threw it away. I dove for the loose ball, saved it to Jamal. He laid it in. Tied game. 20 seconds left. They called timeout. Coach drew up the defense, told us to stay disciplined, stay together. They ran a play, screened, cut, tried to get their star open, but we rotated perfectly. Forced a tough fadeaway. Miss. I grabbed the rebound, got fouled. 2 free throws. 5 seconds left. I walked to the line. The arena was loud, hostile, but I didn't hear it, didn't feel it. I just focused on my routine. Bounced the ball 3 times. Took a breath. Shot. Swish. Bounced the ball 3 times. Took a breath. Shot. Swish. We won. The team mobbed me. Jamal lifted me off the ground. The captain slapped my back. Coach Stevens nodded from the sideline. But the best part wasn't the win, wasn't the stats, wasn't the celebration. It was the feeling, the pure, simple joy of competing, of trusting my teammates, of being in the moment, of loving the game again. After the game, I checked my phone, saw a text from an unknown number. I opened it. Proud of you. Keep going. It was from Darius. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back, thanks, man. That means a lot. 3 dots appeared. Then, you made the right choice. I see that now. Good luck. I put my phone away. Felt something shift inside me. Not closure, not redemption, just peace. A few weeks later, we had another game against my old team. This time it felt different. No anger, no bitterness, no need to prove anything. Before the game, I saw Coach Miller in the tunnel. We made eye contact. He nodded. I nodded back. No words, no drama, just mutual respect. During warm-ups, Darius came over. "Hey," he said. "Hey, you look good, man. Happy?" "I am," I said. "Took me a while, but I am." He smiled. "Good. That's all that matters." We dapped up, hugged briefly, and then we went back to our respective teams. The game was competitive, clean, fun. We won by 3. I had a quiet night. 12 points, 6 assists. Let the game come to me. Didn't force anything. After the game, I walked off the court, stopped at half court, looked up at the rafters, at the banners, at the history, and I felt gratitude, not resentment, gratitude, because that place taught me something important. It taught me that loyalty isn't about staying somewhere that doesn't value you. Loyalty is about being true to yourself, about honoring your own worth, about knowing when to fight and when to walk away. And I walked away, not because I was weak, but because I was strong enough to choose myself. 3 months later, we made the playoffs. 6th seed, underdogs. No one expected us to go far, but we fought, game after game, series after series. We clawed our way through the bracket. And somehow, some way, we made it to the conference finals. We lost in 7 games. Heartbreaking, devastating, but beautiful, because we fought together, trusted each other, believed in something bigger than ourselves. And that's all you can ask for. After the season ended, I went home, saw my mom, sat at that same kitchen table, told her everything. She listened, smiled, held my hand. "I'm proud of you, baby," she said. "Not because you won, not because you proved anyone wrong, but because you found yourself, and that's the hardest thing to do." I hugged her, felt the tears come, let them fall, because she was right. I'd found myself, not the player, not the stats, not the image, the person, the man, the kid who fell in love with basketball on a cracked playground court, and that was worth more than any trophy. That night, I drove to the park where I used to play. The same court, the same rims, the same cracks in the concrete. I grabbed a ball from my trunk, walked onto the court, and I played. No one watching, no one judging, no pressure, no expectations, just me and the ball in the basket. And for the first time in years, I felt complete. I played until the streetlights came on, until my legs were tired, until my lungs burned. And when I finally stopped, when I finally sat down on the baseline and looked up at the stars, I smiled, because I'd come full circle. I'd lost myself, found myself, and became myself. And that's all anyone can do. Play the game, love the game, be true to yourself. Everything else is just noise. I picked up the ball, took one last shot, swish, and I walked off the court, head high, heart full, ready for whatever came next.